Good morning. It is a beautiful. Oh, that's fallen down even more. Sorry, squirrel moment there. It is a beautiful Monday morning. It's going to be low 90s today in the Pacific Northwest. It's my tea. I've been drinking. So, of course, I've been drinking this tea lately. There you go. Not too bad. If I have time, then I'll get out the little seeper and do that. But this actually isn't too bad of a tea. It is. Let's see. Did I say it's Monday? Yeah, it's Monday morning. It is 9:30 Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. So if you are watching this and it is not currently 9:30 Pacific Standard Time, then you are not watching live. And I know nobody's watching live right now because the little the little dot right up here. I don't know how it looks for people watching live, but at least right up here, there's a little eyeball and it says a 0. So nobody's watching, but that's okay. That's okay. People sometimes just kind of file in. They get notified. Oh, Mish is online. So a couple different things are going on. I have to confirm, but well, let's see. No, I don't want any short funding. Let's see. What do I have planned today? I have class planned today. Today's going to be a short week, so I've got this short week, and then Friday, Lisa and I are driving down to San Francisco for the weekend to Brandon Beliso's 4-day experience. So that's going to be fantastic. Not sure if we're going to be able to see family at all. The last time I went down there, I hung out with my cousins, had dinner with them. Thought that was really fun. I don't know if that's going to be a reality this coming up. So if we do anything, it might be like having dinner with them on Friday, like our drive down. But I haven't been in contact with them, so I don't really know. I just kind of want to get down there, get relaxed, and then do whatever. As you come in, I see a couple people in there. As you come in, if you can, say hi in the chat. So there's let's see. So that's happening. So Thursday, so there will be no episode on Friday. If there is an episode on Friday, it will be in the truck and it'll be me and Lisa. So it might just be your regular episode, but with my wife. So tons of people are going to watch. Thursday is going to be the nerd episode where Rob and I are going to talk Prey. And oh my gosh, I watched this last night. I might just watch it again because it was really, really good. Like, now it wasn't awesome. Like, it wasn't the best movie on the planet. There are no Oscars. Well, maybe there might be an Oscar or two. I don't know. It was so, like, for a Predator movie. And I know I'm setting the bar low here. But I thought it was well done. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I don't know if Rob had pointed this out or anybody else, or not pointed it out, but had seen this. There is a nod. There is a nod to, at least from there. Well, to me, it was obvious. It was an obvious nod to a previous Predator movie. But then they're like, just as in other scenes, I was like, oh, there's an Easter egg. I kind of, ooh, that's kind of cool. So that's kind of why I want to watch it again, so I can kind of take notes. But yeah, I really liked Prey. So we're going to be talking Prey on Thursday. So watch it. It's on Hulu. It's not even 2 hours long. It's like an hour and 45 minutes, something like that. But if you are if you have enjoyed, now, okay, like Predator, what was it? Alien versus Predator. Those were just action movies. There was no those were bad. But like, if you were really thinking the original Predator, even Predator 2, like that, this new movie Prey is totally up there, like totally up there. And if you actually go on Hulu, they have the Comanche edition, like the dubbed Comanche edition, which I think I might just watch it 3 times, one for notes and then one just to watch it in Comanche. I think that it's not, because I remember Rob and I talking about that, or Rob had sent me an article, and I know we talked about it on here, but it was that was the plans to do something like that. But I had always thought that it was just going to be plans in the future. No, it is like you can watch it in your standard English, and you can watch it in Comanche. There's two options right now. So so yeah, so if you have a chance, please, on Hulu, go watch it. You're not going to be disappointed. You're not going to be disappointed at all. It is a fabulous movie. But we will talk details on Thursday. So, let's see. I am, I got an advanced copy of this book that, so it was a Kickstarter book called, and I don't want to screw the title up. It's called There I Was When Nothing Happened. And it's edited by a guy named Jason Brick. He's a local martial artist, local writer. But it's basically a collection of stories where you have these people who are experts in violence. I think I've mentioned this before. They are experts in violence, but it is them telling stories of how they got out of a potentially violent scenario without using violence. And so he's kind of so anyway, so it's coming out. In fact, I just got a message from him this morning that I guess there's production delays or something like that with Amazon. I don't know how he's having it printed, but it was originally going to be available on the 10th, so just in a couple days. It'll be available on the 10th. So I got an advanced copy because he was like, "Hey, if I send you an advanced copy, can you would you mind doing a review for it?" And I was like, "Sure." So I've been reading it. It's actually really, really good. I haven't finished it. I have until the 10th, but apparently there's going to be a delay. So I'll keep you guys posted on the delay. I'll get a link up here when so you can buy it. It is it was originally a Kickstarter, and then and now it's so it'll be available then. So, and then at some point, I don't know at what time, but the school, Artisan, is going to host a little event where it'll be a book handout and signing, and then we'll have some people there to teach. At least I'm thinking that's what might happen. But anyway, he also reached out and was like, "Hey, I need a location in Vancouver. Could I use the school?" So we came to an agreement, and I just don't know a date yet. So anyway, so I got to read that. And I will probably spend most of my day, because all of yesterday, yesterday I just kind of I watched some Star Trek, and I watched what else did I watch? I watched some Star Trek, and I watched Prey, and I just kind of vegetated because it was really, really hot. But I didn't do that earlier. I fixed my daughter's bed. So she actually has my mom's bed frame, but the bed rails were too short for her mattress. So her mattress was kind of just squished in. So we rebuilt her bed rails yesterday. So now her mattress will actually fit. So so we got that done and over with. And then let's see, what else did I do over the weekend? I sanded the batless. I got those cut out. I think I showed that. I sanded those. Not ready to show them off yet because I actually want to. I want to stain. I need to stain them, and I'll probably do that right when I get off here. I should have done it yesterday, but stain it and then I'll seal it so they'll be nice and they'll be nice and ready to play with. Because eventually, I'll do some type of batleth seminar, batleth class. I might even make it part of my curriculum. You never know. Good cup of tea. Okay. So, because let's get into, let's talk, since I'm kind of talking about stuff going on. This is kind of what we got coming up. So this coming weekend, we've got a couple different things going on. So we got Bruce Chu and Avant Best in Jacksonville. Okay, we've been talking about that for a while. Jim Korn and David Hogan, they're going to be in Statesboro, Georgia at Clay's School. And then my wife and I are going to be going down to San Francisco to It's Time Live Believe at Brandon Beliso's school, One Martial Arts. Now, the plan was that when we come back, we'll be coming back on the 17th, and that the 18th, there's going to be a volleyball grass tournament happening. And we were going to put up a booth, and essentially we've been preparing for that. But the volleyball grass tournament has disappeared from the volleyball schedule, and I have not been notified, because I have sent off a couple of messages, but I've heard nothing. So that may not happen. So we have, let's see. How do we do this? There we go. So that may not happen. But the self-defense class on the 20th will happen. In fact, Lisa and I spent this last Saturday, because nobody came to the self-defense class and nobody came to the crimp class, but that's okay. I mean, it is what it is. You schedule classes for people to sign up, and sometimes people just don't sign up. So, so we actually spent time, Lisa and I, going over our self-defense curriculum. And I think it's actually going to be better than, we actually kind of came up with some scenarios. We came up with some core applications that we're going to cover. And then it's going to be on basically a rotating curriculum. So you're going to get the core every time you come in, and then there's going to be a couple of techniques that will add on at the end, that say, like, if you come on the first day of the month or the first class of the month, because we're going to do them twice a month, the first class of the month, you'll get what we'll just call applications 1 and 2. And then the second class of the month will be 3 and 4. And then the second month we'll have applications 5 and 6. And then the fourth class, that second class of the second month, will be 7 and 8. And then there'll just kind of be a couple extra outliers. So we're going to have about 8 to 10 extra applications. So like if we do like a fundraising seminar, there'll be, you might, you're going to get the core, and then you're going to get whatever applications that we're going to bring up. So anyway, so we're really looking forward to this. This first class, because in fact, the class on the 20th might just be a testing class, a test class. So it's like, okay, we're going to, because in our minds, it's like, okay, well, we actually want to break it down to the minute. So it's like, okay, well, when we talk about, what is violence? What do people identify as violence? All that kind of stuff. Our introduction, that should take so long. And then each application should take so long. And then having people do the moves should take so long. And then basically we're going to give some time for play. So it's like, okay, you've practiced these 4 applications. Now spend, a certain amount of time playing and just randomize, I'm going to grab, or I'm going to do this, and have that person, and then, get out of it. So it would be kind of like a randori type of thing. I think would be pretty fun. And then we have, what is it? Then we have, some scenarios, but it's going to be pretty good. So I think that's what we might do. We just do on that scheduled day. So whoever shows up, whether it be friends, people we've asked to be there, or just people who want to do it, it'll be part of it. On the 27th, Rory Miller's training lab. We got the times for the Small Circle Jiu-Jitsu East Coast Camp. That's actually going to be the same weekend as Jim Korn's Friends in the Arts Camp. So Lawrenceville, New Jersey is where Leon J. and Will Higginbotham and a couple other people are going to be. And then you've got Jim Korn, me, Ed Daniels, Mark Klein, Asa Seeley, Jason Graham, Kirsten Dom, however you pronounce his last name. They'll be in, they will be in all in Washington. And then 2 weeks after that, the HKI camp, Kirsten Dam and Jim Korn will be there. And then in November, we've got what's his name's birthday bash, Danny Anderson's birthday bash, where it's going to be him, Kelly Worden, and Brian Zawolinsky. There was another one I wanted to put on there. Oh, sometime in October, we're going to have what did we talk about? We didn't put it. It's not going to be the 29th. It's going to be Friday, the 28th of October, is going to be it's going to be the zombie self-defense class. So I think that'll be pretty fun. So looking forward to that. And then let's see. Yeah. So all that, and as things go up. Now, one cool thing is that now the volleyball tournament may not happen, but on the 25th of August, I will have a booth at the elementary school down here, Burton Elementary, and I'll be handing out Otter Pops and talking about martial arts and promoting the school. And I'm also thinking something it'll be kind of like a last minute thing, but I want to do, because Brandon did this, and I think it's just what a smart thing to do, is he did a kindergarten, it's almost kind of like a kindergarten meet and greet. So I'm going to, as soon as the schools open, I might, which I think basically when we get back, Oh, Otter Pops. OTTERPOPS. Not, I know they kind of sound like Auto Pops. Otter Pops. So, good morning. Yes. So I'm looking for all that. Anyway, so we'll be doing that, but I want to see about holding a and maybe even not necessarily maybe Burton, but maybe Crestline, which is right behind me. If this was my school, it would be right behind me. So there you go on that one. Oh shoot. And then let's see. Yeah, so lots of ideas. Yeah. That cleared it all up. Oh, so okay, so an Otter Pop. Now I know what you're okay. And it's basically it is hey, sorry, young. So an Otter Pop is essentially it's high fructose corn syrup and flavored water, colored water as well, that's frozen. So it's like an ice pop. That's all. That's really what it is, an ice pop. So um, I thought that Otter Pops were like everybody knew who an Otter Pop was. Northern popsicles. I don't know what a northern popsicle is, but possibly. Hey, that's okay. It's been it's been a while since you've had little kids, so I get it. I understand. No worries. So let's see what. Yeah. So basically, it's kind of this. Yeah, it's just like a popsicle. That's all it really is. Oh, that's what I figured. Northern, as in geographical location. Well, I would think that Otter Pops would be like an all over thing, like that they would be nationwide. But I guess maybe not. Who knew? Must be a Yankee thing. Oh, you guys are funny. So, let's see. Ooh, now there's one thing I want to bring up. Uh, when it comes to a Euro Trek, because um, when we bring up the upcoming nerd shows, okay. So I put on She-Hulk. I will probably watch the first episode. Because I usually watch the first episode of some of the Disney Plus shows and then just never watch them again because they just don't capture my thing. But when we come when we're talking about geeks, nerd shows, She-Hulk is coming up. And funny that was coming up. I was on Facebook this morning and I saw this. There's a Facebook group out there that says Christians Against She-Hulk. And not that it came up as something that I as a suggestion for a group that I might join, but it was an article about this group. Apparently it's a troll group. So you get these people who are who are super Christians. They think that the MCU is ruining Christianity, or Disney is ruining Christianity, and we can't focus on women or other cultures as part of that type of mythos. And so it's a troll group. So they get these people in, and then they basically I guess it was but the article described it as a group that what is it? A group that run by atheists. It was I can't remember what it is, but anyway, it's a troll group, because before it was Christians against Doctor Strange in the multiverse, Christians against Loki, Christians against Miss Marvel, but basically it's a troll group. I thought that was kind of funny. So anyway, so She-Hulk is coming on the 18th, so that'll be something that Rob and I can talk about. And the 18th is actually a Thursday, so we could actually talk about it on a Friday. So that'll be fun. And then we got Lower Decks season 3 coming up on the 25th, and then all these awesome shows in September. Look at that, all those awesome shows in September. And then of course what we got coming into 2023. But talking about nerd shows, so because I'm going to be gone for a week, 2 days full of traveling, and then like 4 days full of, of basically classes. I was like, I don't know what I'll be able to watch. Let's see. As a Christian, my favorite bumper sticker, Lord save me from your followers. Hey, those fundamentalists, man, you got to watch out for them. They're nuts. My grandparents were fundamentalists. Anyway, so I'm trying to catch up, and not catch up, but like get ahead. Wait. Okay. September is ridiculously stacked. I may have to take 2-hour lunches for the show. You never know. I mean, seriously. So I'm trying to get ahead. Now, I made time because I've not seen this season 4 of Discovery. I got far enough ahead in Enterprise that I finished early, and then I knocked out two Kelvin movies in one day. I think I did. Was that Saturday? Did I do that Saturday? I can't remember. And then yesterday I started on Discovery, and I ended up getting about 4 episodes of Discovery. So according to my new calendar, though, when it comes to watching Star Trek, today is actually a Star Trek Beyond day. So really, I'm 3 days ahead. But I did get far enough ahead where I could actually put in the last 13 episodes, or the 13 episodes of season 4. So that is in there. Now I just got to get ahead so I can make sure that for a certain amount of days, I just don't need to watch. So basically when I get back, I can essentially get back and just start watching again. So that all being said, I got to try and find this because Lisa and I were talking this morning, and even though I got here on time, I had forgotten to pull. Let's see. Is it here? Okay. So there's oh shoot. When it comes to Into Darkness, I actually watched Into Darkness. I know. I saw Into Darkness in the theaters the day it came out. I was super, super excited that it was coming out. I liked 2009. I was interested to see what they were going to do for 2, for Into Darkness. J.J. Abrams said it was not going to be a con movie, and well, it ended up being a con movie. And well, it was the worst piece of shit ever. And actually, so just watching it, I was like, there were scenes that were copied and pasted. And rewatching it, there are some things where I'm like, okay, now I do not have a newfound love for this movie. It is still a stupid, did I mention stupid movie? I think the writing was crap. I think the storyline, just, yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, long ago, I found an article and I came across it again last year and I saved it as a PDF because when I read it, it was super, super funny. So I'm going to read it now, but it is more of a, conversation. It's kind of a back and forth. So it is not an original. It can be found on Gizmodo. It says Star Trek Into Darkness, the spoiler facts. It was written by Rob Brickin, and I don't know when sorry you had to rewatch that film that made Killer Clowns from Outer Space look Oscar worthy. Yeah. So you'll get a kick out of this. Okay, so this article, Into Darkness, the spoiler facts, written by Rob Brickin. I do not have his permission to read this, so I mean nobody watches this show anyway, so that's okay. But this came out in 2013. But I'm going to read this article, and it's you can almost put it together as a conversation, okay? Because it has the questions and then an answer. So and that's kind of how when I read it, it's kind of how I read it. And to be able to put this into a skit, this would be an awesome skit. All right, so after making a mere $84 million at the box office, Star Trek Into Darkness is considered by some to be a disappointment. Perhaps the problem is that it was a touch confusing. To help our readers better understand it, we've compiled and answered these frequently asked questions about the movie. Maximum spoilers ahead. How does a movie start? Well, with Kirk and Bones fucking with a planet of primitive aliens. They steal some kind of holy scroll and then get chased through a red jungle. Oh, seems kind of like a dick move. Well, it's not very clear, but ostensibly they've stolen a scroll to get chased in order to draw the aliens away from a volcano that's about to explode. Oh, okay. Well, that sounds reasonable. Except that number one, when the volcano erupts, it's going to kill everybody on the planet. So it hardly matters that they are. And number two, Spock is getting dropped down into this volcano to set off a cold fusion bomb. What? Wait, what? Yeah, so he sets off this cold fusion bomb and the lava freezes. Here, since it's a conversation, I'll move back and forth. Cold fusion isn't actually cold, right? Like it's only cold in the sense that it's opposed to regular fusion that's not a bazillion degrees hot. Huh? Yeah, and did you say that Spock was in the volcano? Why the hell did they just beam him down there? Something about the planet's magnetic field, although they do beam Spock out of the volcano just a few minutes later. So now, and why did Spock have to go with the bomb to set it off? Are you telling me that in the 23rd century that people don't have a way to detonate bombs remotely? Well, that's kind of stupid. Well, And why the fuck does the Enterprise just carrying around a cold fusion suitcase bomb anyways? Look, you're getting very upset. And this is just the first scene of the movie. Okay, fine. What happens next? Well, Spock's zip line breaks, so he's stuck in the volcano. The Enterprise is underwater, so Kirk can't ascend without the aliens seeing it, thus breaking the Prime Directive. What? The Enterprise is parked in the ocean. That's ridiculous. Even the ship designed to function in the vacuum of space could handle the pressure underwater, which I'm like 99% sure it can't. Even if the thrusters could function underwater, which makes no sense. And even if the ship could survive flying out of water without insanely large surface area with the front part snapping off like a twig, why the fuck did they park it underneath instead of just hanging out in space like they were supposed to? Because J.J. Abrams saw the helicarrier scene from Avengers and got jealous, I guess. Look, I know Star Trek is science fiction, but hasn't Trek always at least nominally tried to get science right? Shouldn't a Star Trek movie give the tiniest shit about some of these things? One might presume. Okay. Let's move on. So, Kirk rescues Spock, breaks the Prime Directive by showing themselves to the aliens. The aliens start to worship the Enterprise. Spock sends a report to Starfleet on what happened. Kirk gets busted. Kirk is removed as captain of the Enterprise. What? Yeah, so the first movie was all about Kirk's journey from rebellious kid to a more mature leader of men. Yeah. Well, we're doing that again. Okay. Meanwhile, Rose's boyfriend, Mickey, from Doctor Who, puts a ring in a glass and blows up the Starfleet library in London. Why does he do that? In exchange for Benedict Cumberbatch's saving his sick kid. Now, this forces all the Starfleet bigwigs, including Pike, who's reinstated as the captain of the Enterprise, and Kirk, who becomes Pike's first officer, to meet at a very specific room with large windows at Starfleet headquarters to discuss the situation. That sounds like a bad idea. As it turns out, it is. Cumberbatch bombed the library just to get all the heads of Starfleet in this room so he can use a small gunship and shoot the hell out of everybody in it. Pike dies before Kirk manages to destroy the ship with a fire hose, and Cumberbatch beams away. Pike dies? Doesn't he get in his wheelchair box? Alas, no, because everything is about Kirk. Kirk uses the opportunity to ask Starfleet Admiral Peter Weller for permission to take the Enterprise and go kill the shit out of Cumberbatch. Weller accepts after Scotty somehow figures out that Cumberbatch has gone to the Klingon homeworld. Weller gives the Enterprise 72, specifically 72, experimental new photon torpedoes and says when they locate Harrison, they need to just bomb him from orbit. So kill the shit out of Benedict Cumberbatch. Thing was literal, huh? Very much so. That doesn't seem very Starfleetish to me. Well, it doesn't seem very Starfleetish to Spock either, who points out to Kirk that it's both legally and morally wrong to kill even a known terrorist without a trial. But Kirk really, really wants to get revenge for Pike, even to the point of firing Scotty when Scotty refuses to allow the mysterious photon torpedoes on board unless he can see what's in them. Something to do with maybe fucking up the warp engine or something like that. Wait, Kirk fires Scotty? What kind of Star Trek film is this? Well, he accepts Scotty's resignation, but I think your question stands. Anyways, Carol Marcus, who is Admiral Peter Weller's daughter, although we're not supposed to know this, and who also has an English accent for some reason, sneaks on board because she's a weapons specialist and interested in the torpedoes. Wait, wasn't Carol Marcus a molecular biologist in the original Star Trek universe? Yeah, I assume the career switch was Eric Bana's fault. So then what? Then Kirk decides that murdering a man in cold blood probably isn't the right thing to do and announces that they're going to try and catch Cumberbatch alive. They head to Kronos and are pretty much immediately caught by Klingons, but are saved by Benedict Cumberbatch. What? Why does he save them? Well, I think mostly to show what a supreme badass he is, since he takes them all out simultaneously, including a few ships, thanks to a very, very big gun. And then he surrenders. What? Why? Well, he finds out that the weird torpedoes, specifically the number of them, which is 72, and then surrenders. That's actually the reason. Which is, well, as Kirk finds out, when he interrogates Benedict Cumberbatch, Cumberbatch made the torpedoes for Peter Weller. And inside each torpedo is one of his cryogenically frozen people. Because, as it turns out, that Cumberbatch is actually Khan. Are you shocked? Aren't you surprised at this incredible reveal? No, I'm just angry. When the movie was announced, Abrams, whoever clearly stated that Cumberbatch would be playing a canon Trek character, and everybody guessed it was Khan. And then they promised that he wasn't playing Khan. And then they said Cumberbatch's character was named John Harrison, even though there's no previous Trek character named John Harrison. And again, we knew it was Khan. And then we tried to take this whole big mystery as if we were all morons who had somehow forgotten a classic Trek character named John Harrison. Like they were actually going to pull one over on us when we were telling them over and over again that we knew it was Khan, and that the whole thing that they were trying to accomplish by denying it was, one, being assholes, and two, insulting our intelligence. Well, and furthermore, using Khan just proves that new Trek is going to be nothing more than the greatest hits version of Star Trek, and not even the original hits, just brand new covering the old hits. It means that Abrams doesn't have any original ideas for Star Trek and is content to rehash the shit people enjoyed the first time. Of all the classic Trek characters to bring back, and of all the classic stories they could have brought to mass audiences the first time, or even bad stories that they could have improved, they go with the one character everybody already fucking knows because they all want to see the same old shit. You've got some pretty strong feelings about this. I do. Also, do you say that Khan put his frozen people in torpedoes? Yes. Yes, he did. He's a brilliant strategist, and that's just the best plan he could come up with, to hide the people so he desperately wanted to save in explosives? What the fuck is he thinking? What if Kirk hadn't conveniently had all of those torpedoes on him? And why did Peter Weller give Kirk all 70 torpedoes to kill a single dude in the first place? Eric Bana? Fuck you. Don't shoot the frequently asked questions. Don't shoot the frequently asked questions answerer, please. Anyway, Kirk verifies that the frozen torpedo people, with thanks from Carol Marcus and Bones, get some coordinates from Khan and calls Scotty. Then the person he so recently let go, and then asks him to check it out. As it turns out, Peter Weller is building a giant combat ship out there because he wants to militarize Starfleet, because he's certain that we're all going to be more races like the Klingons, and also because he's a dick. Weller is also the one who found Khan floating in space, woke him up, and forced him to use his intellect and powers to make badass weapons for him. Why was Khan floating in space? Actually, this Khan has the same origin as the original Khan. He's genetically engineered warrior, created for the eugenic wars in the 1990s. He ruled part of Asia before. Wait. The eugenic wars of the 1990s? Yes. We didn't have any eugenic wars in the 1990s, unless you count Dawson's Creek. Yes. But Gene Roddenberry didn't know that when he created Khan in 1967. But we do, because it's 2013. But it's canon. Don't you like canon? I like it when it doesn't get stupid. Why the hell would Abrams and his crew stick to Khan's origin timeline, even though it makes zero sense, but also suddenly change him to a white dude? That's cherry picking the stupidest parts of canon and non-canon. I don't know. I think it's nice that in this day and age, a white man can still play an Indian played by a Mexican. White men really have come a long way. I'm going to punch you in the throat. Anyway, that's Khan's deal. Weller flies the killer prize to meet Kirk and steal his prisoner so that he, number one, doesn't get caught being an evil dick, and number two, can continue being an evil dick and militarize Starfleet. He beams his daughter onto his ship and then starts firing. The Enterprise takes more direct hits than it does in the entire original series. But before Weller fires the final shot, Scotty, who has snuck onto the killer prize and apparently been waiting for this exact moment, resets the killer prize's power, forcing it to boot back up like a Mac, and almost as long. Since the Enterprise has no weapons or shield, Kirk takes the opportunity to team up with Khan, and they fly over to the killer prize. Scotty lets him in. Wait. What? Yeah, Kirk teams up with Khan. Isn't that cool? The two enemies are forced to work together and take out the greater enemy. No, because Khan is an asshole. Kirk is being a moron. No. Wait. In Kirk's defense, it only takes him 5 to 10 minutes to realize he's made a horrible mistake. This mistake is confirmed when they get to the bridge and Khan beats the shit out of Kirk and Scotty, breaks Carol's leg, and crushes Peter Weller's head in his hands. Yeah, that's what I thought. Meanwhile, Spock calls old Spock to ask him what the deal with this Khan guy is. Wait, I thought old Spock has agreed to never tell new Spock anything so he could live his life and all that jazz. Yes. And we know this because Spock says, I vowed to never tell you anything of your future because I wanted you to live your own life and blah, 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 blah. Just before adding, but Khan is an asshole, and here's exactly how we defeated him. Khan offers to trade Kirk and the others for his people and their torpedo beds, which acting Captain Spock agrees to. Of course, Spock arms all the torpedoes right before Khan beams them over, so the killer prize explodes, although not before shooting the Enterprise several million more times. Brilliant strategist, eh? He's a little excited. Also, he still had Peter Weller's skull juice all over his hands. That would distract anybody. So we're done, right? By no means. The Enterprise is pretty much dead and has entered Earth orbit, meaning it's falling really, really fast. The problem is that the warp drive is misaligned. So wait a minute. I think I know what happens here. So the ship can't stop falling, but the warp drive room is full of radiation and God damn it. So Kirk runs to the warp drive room and kicks it back into place. Oh God, it's Kirk this time? That's even worse. And then Spock realizes what happened, and he runs down to the room where he sees Kirk dying behind the locked glass, and no. And then Kirk puts his hand on the glass, and Spock puts his hand on the glass, and he makes the Vulcan salute and dies. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't you say it. Spock. No, God damn it. Don't you say it. Spock yells, Khan! Fuck. Why don't you like it? I liked it just fine the first time I saw it in Wrath of Khan. Of course, the reason I liked it is because Kirk and Spock's friendship has been a part of pop culture for 15 years. So Spock's death and Kirk's anguish was given some actual agency. Instead of now, Kirk's anguish has given some, when Kirk and Spock have known each other for 4 hours of screen time, 2 of which they didn't even like each other. I also liked it the first time because it was new and not a crass, creatively bankrupt attempt to manipulate the audience's emotions. Not through sadness, but because there's clearly no way Kirk is actually going to stay dead, because the scene is nothing more, here's something you have seen before with a slightly different, so take it as you will, as opposed to even trying to give us anything genuinely new. Oh. So the next movie is The Search for Kirk, I suppose. No. You see, Bones drew some of Khan's blood to figure out why he was so strong and resilient. And he injected it into this dead Tribble because I suppose Bones' hobby is injecting dead things with various people's bloods. It's a little weird. Okay. As it happens, as soon as Bones hears Kirk has died, the dead Tribble comes back to life, thanks to Khan's blood. Okay. The Killer Prize has just crashed on San Francisco, and Khan is, of course, fine, despite the destruction of many, many high-rise buildings and thousands upon thousands of people. Spock chases Khan down, and they have a fist fight on top of some moving, flying cars. With the help of Uhura, they get their man, and they bring Kirk back to life. So they've just eliminated death forever. Beg your pardon? Kirk was dead for many, many minutes of radiation poisoning, right? He gets injected with Khan's blood. Well, a synthesized version of it. Even better. So, wouldn't Khan's blood fix... so what wouldn't Khan's blood fix? Decapitation, but most other mortal wounds. Poisons, phaser blasts, I bet. Certainly most other illnesses and cancers as such. And probably aging. at least to an extent. So basically, Bones has discovered the secret to eternal life. And not only will no one on the Enterprise ever need to die again unless their body is somehow destroyed, but all of the civilization, heck, probably a gigantic civilization, will irrevocably change because of this amazing discovery. I don't think so. I think they just save Kirk and then forget about it. Of course they do. Of course. And I suppose the Tribble that Bones brought back to life multiplies like Tribbles do and cause its own horrible situation. No, that's never mentioned again. Maybe Bones kills it with his bare hands to keep it from spawning, or maybe he injects it with Mountain Dew or something since that's how he rolls. Okay. And then Kirk gives a speech at Starfleet a year later because everything is about him. And then they start on their 5-year mission, which will almost certainly involve space whales, since the next biggest thing people remember is that about Star Trek. The end. All right. And so that has been my poor rendition of that really needs to be. I think that Rob and I, or we need to do that as a skit. I always envision that as a skit. Now, in the past, I have used the term, well, it's Eric Bana's fault. When in doubt, blame Eric Bana. That reference is from that article that I read many, many years ago that I refound last year. And the reason, and that was the best one-man show ever. I try. Because Eric Bana played Nero in the first Star Trek movie. He was the Romulan that goes back in time. And so it's all Eric Bana's fault. Now, some of the things that I can understand and say, now I do believe in time travel, but say somebody from the future came back and changed a little part of it. Say a ship that destroys. So let's see. We don't know how many people died on the Kelvin. Okay. But we know that he saved like 800 people. George Kirk did. But we don't know how many people died. Okay. And I can understand losing a starship with a certain thing, and a father dying, and a son growing up without a father. Like, that is going to change. That is going to change the future in some shape or form. Okay. And even if we look at the butterfly effect of, a butterfly flapping its wings on this side of the planet could, create a tidal wave on the other side of the planet, or a tsunami. I don't think it would be that extreme, but it's one of those where, and maybe, maybe you have the direction of Starfleet changes because they not just run into the Klingons, because we already ran into the Klingons 100 years before with what's his name? With Broken Bow, with Archer. Okay. You have, I can understand Starfleet might change because there was this person that came out of time and destroyed a starship. You had people traumatized. So maybe they changed their direction of life. So maybe Starfleet was like, okay, well, and even 26 years later, which Starfleet's direction wouldn't be changed too much, because you can't really have one admiral change the complete direction of Starfleet. But even 26 years later, or 20 some odd years later, when Pike tells Kirk it is a peacekeeping, and I cannot remember the actual term that he uses. Peacekeeping and exploring armada. I mean, that's what Starfleet is, and that is what Starfleet is. And maybe when we talk about the decisions that Carol Marcus made, maybe her father originally was, because we don't know about anybody about the Prime timeline about Carol Marcus's father, but we do know that that she was a biologist, not a weapons expert. So so maybe that did change, people's, by how they grew up, by different things. Maybe that's how they did change. So it did change the course of certain things. But you know what it wouldn't change? It wouldn't change the Praxis moon having been blown up. It wouldn't have done that, because what do we see? And I can only guess. And I think I remember them saying that the moon that looked like it was halfway destroyed when they're going to Kronos was actually Praxis. That doesn't make a moon blow up 50 years or however many years before it's supposed to. Like, that doesn't, what Eric Bana doesn't affect that. Like, there's just some, okay. Tribble, when injected with Khan's blood again, gains immortality, a British accent, but loses their asexual libido. Somewhere is a lone Tribble wearing a smoking jacket, staring at a binary sunset, wishing the end would come. The coming day would bring him to eternal release, yet knew it would never come. Oh my gosh. Oh, Rob, that's awesome. Yeah, there's just, and as I'm watching this, so like the end, Kirk being the one who dies, and then bringing him back with Spock, with Khan's blood, and I mean, we all knew it was Khan. I don't know why I got so angry, but honestly, I was sitting like this, like I sat like this for most of the movie when I originally saw it. And I remember my wife looking, because, usually we'll sit and just kind of watch the movie, even the end. And like the movie ended, and I looked at her, I was like, "Are you ready? I'm done." Like, I was so pissed. So pissed. I only ever saw that movie once. That's how mad and angry that made me. I do not own it. I'm glad that I have Paramount Plus, so I was able to watch it. I once told my kids that they were not allowed, they were allowed to watch it, but I did not want the filth of that movie occupying the pixels on my TV. So I don't know if I know that I don't know if, I think Alexa this was the first time that she watched it, because she actually watched it with me. I don't know if Ashton said that he eventually watched the movie. I don't know if he watched it on the TV, but where or how he watched it, but he said, yeah, he too thought it was a horrible movie. But as I'm watching this, there's, yeah, there were actually some scenes where it's like, I was like, that was from Wrath of Khan, but it wasn't exact. Like they took lines and they took scenes. So there's the scene where Spock, Kirk, and McCoy are in Kirk's cabin and they're reviewing the Genesis device stuff. And then Spock and McCoy have this this discussion about it's like, oh, well, it's easier to destroy than to create. And he says, oh, and according to, myth, the Bible, the world was created in 6 days, but wait a minute, here comes Genesis. Now we can do it in 6 minutes. It was that conversation, like not those lines were in this one because Genesis wasn't part of this timeline, but it was other lines used in that scene. And even though they were on the bridge, I could recognize that they were using that. They had manipulated that conversation into this movie. There were a couple other scenes that's the one that really, really comes to mind. And of course the almost verbatim of I mean, he didn't, like, Kirk and Spock didn't say, oh, I have been and always will be your friend. But yeah, I mean, like Kirk and Spock, I mean, they knew each other for years. They built this friendship. And so when you have a loss, that will create, but it was Kirk that had that outburst that and he didn't even have the outburst at Khan. I mean, yeah, it was just it was just poorly written, poorly put together. Yeah, I just and this is another thing. This is another thing I have. Okay, so back on this relationship thing. I know my brain is kind of going back and forth, but we have Kirk and Spock, prime timeline, have known each other at this time 15 plus years. Okay. Spock dies. There is that emotional connection. We've seen them through, 3 seasons on TV and another in a movie. And it's like, oh my, and all of this movie until the very end, and he dies. And there's that emotional, oh my God, cannot believe that they killed Spock. In this, like, if we take, like, Spock had an emotional reaction, like, and I know that they were trying to relate it back to him coming to terms with his death at the beginning of the movie and not feeling, and so now he's feeling, he's, oh, it's okay to feel, but he has this emotional reaction blaming Khan for Kirk's death. Yet let's go back to the first movie. His mother dies. Spock's mom dies in front of his eyes. She dies. And it's all that he can do to keep himself together. And it was Kirk. Like, and then not only seeing his mom die, he sees his planet destroyed. And he hasn't lost it. Like, he's keeping it together. And it took Kirk basically browbeating him to get that emotional reaction. Yet, here's a man he's known a year and a half, maybe. Let's say 2 years tops. 2 years tops. But a year and a half. Maybe even a year. I really don't know how much time has gone by, but I'm going to say about 18 months. And he has a remote, there's that connection. He really has that connection. Like, really? I don't know. Yeah. Now beyond, uh, I lost count of how many times I said, seriously, what the actual fuck and why? Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if I will ever be watching that movie again. There might be a time in the future um, uh, that I'll watch it, but it will like for me this year of Trek, this has been awesome. Like I have really consumed myself with Star Trek um, over this past year, and it's just been an amazing thing. I'm actually kind of glad that I watched this because I can reappreciate how bad it is. And I will probably do a year of Trek some other time in the future, and I will probably watch this movie at some time in the future. But yeah, it's just a horribly bad movie. Now, Star Trek Beyond is also a bad movie, but it's a bad movie I enjoyed. It's not. I mean, it was written by a fan. It was written by um, by can't even think of his name now. The dude who plays Scotty, Simon Pegg. Uh, so he wrote the movie along with I think one other person, and it wasn't badly directed. And it's got some interesting things, but and I know the whole 25% difference, but you can't make 25% different when it comes to continuity. Okay. When they're talking about the Franklin it being the first warp 4 ship, no, you can't do that. You have to have, if you can't mention canon like that, then there is no mention. Like it has to be you like, and because having a ship like that, even if they kept the NX style thing, it was NX what 357 or 327 or something like that. So why even put it on there? Like it was, because they didn't have the first warp 4 ship. No, it was, they had the first warp 5 engine. It was the NX class. NX-01 was the Enterprise. NX-2 was Columbia. Which actually, now that I think, that's actually kind of a nice callback to United States, because the first shuttlecraft was the Enterprise, even though it never actually flew in space. And the actual first shuttle, the United States shuttle, was actually the Columbia. So that was a good call. But there was, I mean, they got that wrong. They included the Makos. Like they actually said that after, that this ship was launched after after the Federation became the Federation, they got rid of the Makos and they turned the Makos into captains. And so that all made sense, perfect sense. But there were just some things where it's just like, no, why did you even have to mention the whole warp 4, warp 5? No, there was no first warp 4 ship. It was a warp 5 ship. And it wasn't that design. I mean, they could say that it was connected to that. They could totally say it was connected to that. And I'm okay with new ship designs. I mean, it was a really horrible design, but it is what it is, I don't know. And there's some other stupid things that happen with it, but aside of that, I enjoy that movie. I mean, it's not the best movie, but I enjoy watching it, even if they mention the whole warp 4 thing, because in a way it kind of was a new story. Kind of, they just kind of, however, if you've let's just take the time of Kirk being in Starfleet. So he joined Starfleet on a dare, essentially. He gets through the academy in 3 years. He becomes the captain of the Enterprise, and then he's demoted, and then he becomes captain again. He goes on this 5-year mission. Okay. So he has 3 years at the academy. 3 years at the academy. He has a year on the Enterprise and then gets demoted. And then he says that they've been, which was also a nice callback. They were 966 days into their, let's see. So 966 days into their 5-year mission. So divided by 365. So they're just over 2.5. They're just over 2.5 years into their 5-year mission. So let's see. So 2.6, because that's okay, plus 1 year, plus the 3 years in Starfleet, plus the year in between, because it was 1 year later. So Kirk has been in Starfleet by this movie, by Beyond, for 7.5 years. 7.5 years. And if we go back and just say, okay, well, maybe they were on the Enterprise, maybe 18 months had gone by, 8 years. Let's just make it an even 8 years. If this Kirk, and he's applying for a vice admiral position, and then at the end of the movie, if he wants it, he can have it. 8 years. Oh my gosh. No, yeah, he got the captainship out of a fluke. You don't become captain that quick, but I understand, there's certain things happen and whatever. But for them to say, oh, you've been in Starfleet for fucking 8 years, and oh, sure, you can have an admiralship. What? I just don't know. So there are problems with it, but overall, it's an enjoyable movie. Okay, so some things I've missed here. Spock's sacrifice was a shock, fit the character, and his admittance and death of Kirk being his friend. No eye dry. The Kelvin version was pointless, useless, and insulting. Couldn't agree more. If memory serves, Simon Pegg didn't like Enterprise, and if so, pretty sure he didn't watch all of it. And of course, you've got Alex Kurtzman, who actually was one of the writers. I had to point this out to Alexa. Alex Kurtzman, who is the Gene Roddenberry / Rick Berman of now for Star Trek, he was one of the writers of Into Darkness. Yes. Kirk gets what he wants, when he wants, however he wants. Yep, unfortunately. Yeah. So basically one of the writers of the worst Star Trek shit in history. Star Trek 5 is a better movie than Into Darkness. And Star Trek 5 wasn't that good. Star Trek 5 is actually an enjoyable movie. I actually enjoy watching that movie. It has its problems, I will admit that. But it's not a horrible movie. Into Darkness, it's a horrible fucking movie. Okay. All right. So I get off my soapbox. It's only been an hour and 20 minutes. So now moving forward, I think I've gotten through the first 4 episodes of what do you call it? Maybe I got through the first three. Contact 16's the butcher's knife. I cannot remember. I think I watched episode 4. I have to go back wherever I'm at, but I am a few days into this, so I'm going to try and get as many episodes as I can through that. Now, Tim Hollenbeck, when we talk about birthdays, a friend of mine, Tim Hollenbeck, martial artist, he is retired, but he's off somewhere. Anyway, his birthday's today. So Tim, if you're watching this or see this, happy birthday. I never have been able to pronounce a name. Kirak Lofton, basically, Jake Sisko. It was his birthday yesterday. He is 44. So yeah. Let's see. 5 isn't bad, not good, but not bad. Into Darkness was shit. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Did I miss anybody else's birthdays? Let's see. Oh, and really, when it comes to, I mean, yeah, I did talk about Into Darkness, and I should probably get going. But finally up Enterprise, I enjoyed In a Mirror Darkly. I thought that was a good double episode, and then really the final. This is kind of how after watch, because I watched Enterprise last year-ish. I finished it before actually starting a year of Trek. So when it comes to Trek shows that I've watched, like rewatched from Year Trek to other shows I've watched recently, Enterprise was the most recent show. That's good. Jake from DS9, not to be confused with Jake from State Farm. That was funny. So, and I know that this is common with Star Trek fans, but really Demons and Terra Prime. Terra Prime is just a single episode, just 45 minutes. Demons is another single episode. But essentially they are a part 1 and part 2. Season 4 of Enterprise was essentially a series of multi-episode story arcs. And so Demons, episode 96, and Terra Prime, episode 97, all and just happened to star Peter Weller, which I think is really funny. He plays a dick in both Star Trek timelines. Is really it focus around Trip and T'Pol's kid, and xenophobia, and kind of like the beginning of the Federation, and I know, 7 years in the future, or what, 6 years in the future, they do sign like they do in These Are the Voyages. But These Are the Voyages was such a bad series finale. So really the way I look at it is Demons and Terra Prime are the season and series finale of Enterprise. These Are the Voyages is just basically a really bad holodeck episode of DS9, or of really bad holodeck episode of Next Generation, which essentially it was. I mean, it all focused around the Pegasus, the episode The Pegasus, where Riker telling Picard the truth about about what happened and this horrible thing that happened when he was an ensign, which was a mediocre episode. Like, it wasn't like the best episode in the world. It was just very mediocre. And so yeah, it just yeah. So really, these are the voyages. It was just a mediocre holodeck episode from Next Generation. Demons and Terra Prime were truly the real series finale. So plus it also kind of, you know, puts in my head that Trip doesn't die. Why would you kill off that character? I mean, I know they go into space. There's all, you know, but why? But why? But why? So, frustrations. Okay. So that all being said, it's been almost an hour and a half. Oh, and we got to throw this in there. Peter Weller is good at playing partially rational things. But he also makes a pretty good robot too. Okay, so got some extra watchers on here. Not sure who you are, but I am going to be tuning out. If you want to go back, you can watch. Oh, hey Harvey. I'm basically the end. Most of this episode was me trashing on Into Darkness. I did probably what Rob says was the best one-man show he's seen. Oh, there we go. Trip died of natural causes, surrounded by friends and family. There we go. I like that. I like that. But anyway, so this was basically more of a Star Trek episode, morning tea. But I'm gonna go do some school shit today. So, oh, and I just have to tell Rob this before we sign off. It is your fault that I am so far ahead of my Q Show book, because I only have three meridians to go when I'm done. 3. I'm not done. I mean, like, I do have to put some activation stuff in there, but when it comes to like the bulk stuff, yeah, I'm almost done, and it's your fault. I didn't want to get it this, but I've just been, it's like this focus, like I start a project and I just kind of work on it, and I do it and I do it and I do it. It's all your fault. So anyway, for those of you who've watched this long off, you know, not live, then yeah, thank you for tuning in. My brain's melted. Okay. And well, at least Rob can admit it, that it is his fault, and he'd happily proofread it. I'm sure you would. So there you go. Love to y'all. If you've hung out this long and still have not liked, subscribed, shared, all that really cool stuff, do so now. And I will see you all tomorrow, Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, be safe.